Hello and welcome to another one of my very cool and astute videos. The Owl House finale aired back in April, and now here I am in typical otaku of fashionable lateness talking about it a month after the fact. I mean, I tried to get this video out in late April, but finals laid me low. Lesson learned, never tell yourself to shut up and dribble when it comes to this stuff. You will regret it. Plus, some of you will know that I have a new policy in which videos will be out when they're out and not following a set schedule anymore. But back to what I was saying when I said I was going to be talking about the Owl House, and more specifically be talking about Luz and how much I relate to her personally. This video won't be that personal, but it'll still talk about stuff like bullying, negative self-talk, and other stuff like that, so count this as your official trigger warning. There's also spoilers for pretty much all the Owl House, so if you haven't watched or finished the show yet, then you've been warned. Off topic, but to those absolute degenerate, mouth-breathing, no-job-having bums that casually drop spoiler-filled images and rants on their Twitter or Instagram feed or on Discord servers, please stop it. Why do you do this? It's not funny, it was never funny, it isn't cool, and you're just being a jerk at that point. Especially if people say they don't want spoilers, but you spoil them anyway. You don't even have the sense to put a spoiler on it or nothing, you just go ahead and drop the image. You guys make me sick. You know who you are. One of these days I'm just gonna show up to one of you spoiler people and just shove a job application in your face. At least when I make spoiler posts I actually tag it with a spoiler, unlike you guys. Sorry for going off script, I just needed to address those kinds of people, cause there were so many untagged spoilers from when the finale came out, it was insane. So with that tangent being done, let's get this show on the road cause we have a lot to cover. And we're gonna go rapid fire, boom boom boom, rapid fire, let's go. Now by this point, everybody and their mothers have heard at least a little bit about the Owl House. Something about similarities to Little Witch Academia, a little bit here and there about how good the animation is, something about Willow, Luce, and King being the absolute best thing since toilet paper and that being an irrefutable scientific fact. Yeah, I think you get the point, the show's pretty popular and rightfully so. And as such, when the finale aired, you can guess people were mad hype, myself included. Funny story, when me and my friend were discussing it, I kid you not, the entire time we were typing in caps lock. But getting back on track, the point is, the show is peak fiction. What's not to love here? Also, this show has one of my favorite moments of Western Sakuga. I don't care if this video gets copyrighted, it's worth it cause oh man, if this scene isn't worthy of a standing ovation, I don't know what is. Peak fiction, crisp animation, the best. Perfection. And just to be clear, I just think Luz is neat as a character. I don't like her any more than that, unlike some people. Okay, enough ranting, I gotta get this video back on track. Luz was set up from the beginning to be this fish out of water type character. She didn't fit in the demon realm at first, and even at home she didn't fit in. I mean, and thanks to them it was shown that at least two people seemed to be her acquaintances, but still, she was never really the most well-liked. And this is where I throw in my own personal anecdote. I won't go in depth about it, but it definitely does suck to be seen as a weirdo at school. People look at you crazy like you don't belong, you feel like an outsider even when you're in a sea of people. That's why you gotta form and maintain bonds with the people that truly care about you, cause they'll treat you well. It's like Amity said, you just gotta let yourself meet them, but of course that's easier said than done. It's hard to find your footing in a new environment, and sometimes when you're in a familiar environment it can still feel alien because the people in said environment make you feel alien. It hurts a lot, but it definitely does get better if and when you meet the right people, which I'm happy to say that I have. I met 3 of such IRL people back in January and February. If you guys are watching this, let's eat crayons together sometime. Thanks to you 3 for not making me feel like such a weirdo anymore. Alright, I'm going all over the place. See, this is one of the reasons why I don't get too personal on this channel, cause it's too hard to stay focused on one point. But going back to what I was originally talking about, Luz being a fish out of water naturally finds people that she can trust and comes out of her shell more. Getting the opportunity to meet new people really helped Luz develop as a character. She had flaws and still does after it, which is something I like. Finding the right people isn't just gonna magically fix your flaws or your problems, you gotta do that legwork yourself. Your friends are there to help give you a boost, but it's up to you to keep standing. Before I move on to the next part, I gotta show you guys this. These artists on Twitter came out with these W art pieces. They're really great, and of course all credit goes to them, and I'll link their pieces in the description so you can go support them. Sorry for all the off-topic tangents and jumping around, I'm just sort of in the zone right now. I'm going off the script sometimes, which is something I rarely do. I don't do it that much because scripts often give my scrambled mess of a brain structure when making videos. Alright, for what's hopefully the last time, back to what I was saying. The most relatable thing about Luz, at least for me, is her need to be the chosen one. This shines through more in the first season and season 2A, but not as much in season 2B or season 3. That's of course for the better as she grows to not need to be the chosen one. She started off thinking that because she got transported to this new world, that means she's destined to go on an all-encompassing adventure, but soon realizes that that's not the case. Instead, she learns to be the hero of her own story, which is a point I rarely see shows bring up. You don't have to be some grandiose hero to be somebody, you can just simply exist and be you. I was also one of those people for the longest time. If you know anything anything about me from 2021 and early 2022, you'll know that I emulated Joey a lot. I copied this man's flow word for word and bar for bar. Seriously, it was bad. I was an NPC. Now that's not to say that he's not cool. He is. He definitely is, and it's still an inspiration and influence on my channel to this day, but not to the same effect as it was back then. Since March 2022, I grew to not need to be Joey Jr. and copy him, and since then I've been doing my own thing. During that time, however, I felt like I needed to be the next Joey, but the truth is I could never be, and I mean that in the best way. You can't be the next anybody, you have to be the next you, and you can do that by doing what you know only you can do. Similarly, Luz also felt like she had to be the next greatest witch, but later came to realize that she could just be herself. I also began to ask myself why. Why should I have to be the next Joey? Why should I have to be something that I didn't decide for myself that I wanted to be? Instead of following the path he already walked, I'm gonna follow my own path, and I couldn't be more proud in doing so. You know what else I couldn't be more proud of? A certain Avery who's anything but average. The GOAT. Your average Avery. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Avery. I go by they them pronouns, and I have been summoned by Otaku Loaf to talk about the Owl House and how I personally relate to it. So the Owl House has been one of my top favourite TV shows for about the past year or so now. I started watching the show during April of last year, and to be honest, when I initially started watching it, I just thought that it would be one of those shows where you enjoy it and can appreciate it. However, it doesn't really impact you that much, and you end up sort of forgetting about it. But this show ended up impacting me a lot, and most definitely will be a show that I'll never forget. Half of the reason being because of its great world building, characters and storytelling, but also because of how much I found myself relating to the main protagonist and to the show's core message, which is finding a sense of belonging, whether that be by finding a place where you feel like you belong, finding people that accept the real you and love you for who you are, or finding both of those things. But before I go on to talk about the show's core message, first let's talk a little bit about Luz Noceda. So Luz is probably my most favourite character from the show, which is mainly due to how much I was able to relate to her. Similar to her, throughout my school years, I was seen as the weird kid, and because of that, I got bullied and ostracised pretty much every day, which honestly just made school an absolute living hell for me. And so seeing Luz's struggles with being ostracised and being heavily misunderstood really hit home for me. But also seeing her go to the Boiling Isles and eventually finding a place where she feels like she belongs and finding a group of people there who will gradually come to love and accept her for who she is was extremely validating for me. And I know that may sound really cringe to some people, but for me, seeing her find a sense of belonging gave me hope that one day I'll be able to find a place where I belong, and that I'll be able to also find people that'll truly accept me for who I am and who will love me for who I am too. As well as that, another thing that made me relate to her even more is that we're both neurodivergent. Oh, and by the way, if you don't believe that she's neurodivergent, Dana literally confirmed that it was her intention to make Luz neurodivergent in an interview with Rebecca Rose.
I know for Marcy and Luz, a lot of people in the, who identify as neurodivergent identify with those characters specifically. Is that another case of just the writing happened to work out that way and people are identifying with those characters in that certain way?
I answered a question similar to this on a Tumblr thing back in January. Goodbye. And I kind of want to take back what I said. I said, it wasn't my intention to give Luz ADHD, and that's still the case, but it was absolutely my intention to make Luz neurodivergent. But back in 2016, 2017, when I was first working with that character, I had never heard that word before. Mm-hmm. So after doing some research and looking up that word and just seeing it, more and talking to people about it, yeah, Luz is absolutely neurodivergent. And people who see her with ADHD, yeah, she has ADHD, but it's obviously doesn't hinder her. She learns a little differently. She's very visual, and she likes doing a lot of things at once. She's interested in a lot of things, and that's a boon to her. And it's a boon to people around her who can learn how to do things a little differently from her. It was always my intention to show someone who just learns a little differently. And that's totally cool and actually super helpful in a lot of these situations that she ends up in.
Anyway, getting to see that aspect of myself be accurately represented through Luz and not in a way that was demonizing or patronizing was really cool, and actually helped me to start accepting myself a bit more and to stop viewing myself as someone who's broken and needs fixing in order to be loved. But yeah, I could go on and on about how much I relate to Luz, but we gotta keep things moving.
Oh, we're halfway there!
So now I want to talk a bit about the show's core message. So like I mentioned earlier, the core message of the Owl House is finding a sense of belonging, and we're actually sort of introduced to this theme from the very first episode, A Lying Witch and a Warden, because in the episode we see Luce go to the Boiling Isles by accident, meet King and Ida, and then go on a mission with them to get back King's crown, which is being held in this place called the Conformatorium. However, King and Ida haven't been able to get the crown back because the place that it's being kept at can only be accessed by a human, which is why Ida ends up asking for Luce's help. And at first, Luce is a little bit hesitant about helping Ida and King. However, after she finds out that people get locked up in the Conformatorium simply for not fitting in with society, and that also being the reason as to why the Coven guards want to catch Ida and King, she then goes on to encourage the people who are locked up to fight back by saying,
"So you have a different way of doing things, a different way of seeing things. That may make you weird, but it also makes you awesome, don't you see? Why are you helping us? Because us weirdos have to stick together. And nobody should be punished for who they are. Now let's get 'em!
And then by the end of the episode, she realizes that she'd much rather stay with King and Ida instead of going to that reality check summer camp that her mum wanted her to go to, which I thought set up the core message of the show really well, because season 1 was more episodic. You'd likely think that the whole us weirdos message was just a one-off thing for that episode, but it ended up being a pretty prevalent message throughout most of the show, which I was really glad about in the end, because by the end of that episode, I found myself already relating a lot to Luce and to the us weirdos message. So having that message be expanded on and weaved into a lot of the episodes, whether that be in an overt way or in a more nuanced way, was really cool to see and helped me to feel less alone and more understood, and also made me feel hopeful about one day maybe finding a group of people that'll love and accept me for who I am. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much to Otaku Lo for letting me be in this video. I really appreciate it, and stan Luz Noceda. Bye!
Thanks, Avery. Go check out their channel. They're criminally underrated and they're definitely gonna blow up someday soon. Also, I wouldn't mind it if you subbed to me too, I'm just saying. I plan on reaching at least 380 subscribers by the end of the summer, so it'll be much appreciated. The Owl House has had a special place in the hearts of a lot of people, myself included. I will admit that I did fall off watching it for a while, but it recaptured my attention back in October, and upon coming back to the series, I found myself appreciating it even more. It's done so much for many people, and as for me, it helped me realize that I wasn't alone. That no matter how many times people make you feel like you're an outcast, there will be people that'll accept you. As always, thanks a billion for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And thanks again to Avery for featuring in this video. Go check out their channel, they make good stuff. Also sub to my second channel, cause I might have something special coming there soon, just saying. The same goes for the VOD channel, cause I want to start streaming again over the summer. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much, and here's to a great summer.
Look, kid, everyone wants to believe they're chosen. But if we all waited around for a prophecy to make us special, we'd die waiting. And that's why you need to choose yourself.
Magic staff of my own?
Not yet, but someday.